Now, Democratic strategist Basil Smikle and Maura Gillespie. She's a former advisor to Speaker Boehner and former Congressman Adam Kinzinger. So, Maura, we just saw Trump there at the end backtracking on this issue of contraception restrictions. He keeps saying the abortion issue should be up to the states. What kind of political liability is this for him, for the Republican Party? And why don't Republicans seem to have a coherent approach to this issue yet?
Republicans are still afraid of the far-right, pro-life, strict stance, block of the party. So it's not surprising to watch Donald Trump flounder in this regards as far as kind of being wishy-washy yet again on this topic and saying, I'm going to have an announcement coming out soon. But it is going to be a problem for Republicans, especially down ballot when they come to November, because this issue is largely seen as being, one that should be protecting women's reproductive rights, should be putting women's health at the forefront, not restricting them baselessly.
As Hallie mentioned, a source tells NBC News that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is planning to force a vote on protections for contraceptives, Basil, to put Republicans on the record on this. Smart move?
Very smart move, and I think Biden's right to jump on it as quickly as he did. Don't mistake Donald Trump's equivocation for him not necessarily caring and being persuadable on this issue. He is not. The Republicans are very clear. They want to push this to the states and enact the most draconian measures possible, including the one we just saw in Louisiana. So what the Biden team is doing and what Senate Democrats are doing is saying, look, we've got to now take some national leadership on this issue and do it before the Republicans try to do it again. So it's a very smart move, and I do think it sends a message to all states that reproductive rights is still very much on the ballot.
Let's switch to another heated issue here. Former President Trump sharing a video that boasted of the creation of a, quote, unified Reich if he wins in November. That apparent reference to Hitler's Third Reich. It drew swift backlash. That post was eventually deleted. The Trump campaign says Trump was not aware that phrase was in it. But guys, this isn't the first time Trump referenced Nazi rhetoric and then tried to play dumb afterwards. Last year, he repeatedly said migrants were poisoning the blood of the country. He has claimed that he was unaware that echoed Hitler's rhetoric. And then during the 2016 campaign, even going way back, Trump tweeted an image of Hillary Clinton layered over a pile of cash, a six-pointed star resembling the Star of David. Trump claimed it was a sheriff's star. Basil, why do these so-called, I don't know if you call them accidents, that they're trying to at least appear like that's what it is? Why does that keep happening?
Accidents, coincidence, whatever you want to call it. I mean, look, even if some Republicans try to distance themselves from this, it is clear that the Trump team believes that they need this population that aligns with white supremacy to be elected. That is incredibly scary, but it speaks to why this keeps happening. Now, if you pair that with, the reporting of Justice Alito and the upside down hanging of the American flag, you look at this and you have to wonder, whom do you trust here? How is it that we have a Supreme Court justice and the President of the United States aligning themselves with individuals that want to overthrow this country? That cannot be coincidental.
And maybe aligning themselves is a strong word, but at the very least, they're not rejecting some of those extreme elements. Right. In fact, Maura, there are even more examples we can point to. Trump hosting notorious white nationalist Nick Fuentes for dinner. In the past, Trump reportedly said he wished his generals were more loyal, like Hitler's. He refused to condemn the right-wing extremist Proud Boys. The list goes on. And yet, top Republicans, many GOP voters, keep giving Trump a pass. Why?
If we had to comment on every outlandish, offensive, horrible thing that Donald Trump has said or done, that'd be a full-time job. I remember thinking that when I worked for Congressman Kinzinger. I thought, I can't possibly respond and comment on every single thing that Donald Trump does and says, because I would get nothing else done. That would be my whole existence would be to try and do that. And so it's not going to move the needle away from his loyalists, or the people who went to go work for him in the White House. They knew that he wants to be a dictator. He has said it. He has shown us who he is and who he wants to be. He wants to have this power. He wants to have this idea of power. I don't know that he actually wants to do the job that the presidency requires of the person who's going into the Oval Office, but I know he certainly wants to have the command, the title. And this is not not a surprise. This is who he is and who he continues to show us that he is. And it didn't dissuade people who worked for him in the first place, that he, bragged about sexually assaulting women, that he mocked prisoners of war, that he mocked people who have disabilities. Donald Trump is not afraid to just simply be who he is for worse, not for better. And yet he continues to have support. He continues to dominate in the polls right now. I mean, that really should tell us everything, that his loyalists aren't going to be moved. But the question on democracy, that's where he will lose people. And, questions like abortion, he'll lose people. And so those are really the issues that people should be focused on, and not on all the ridiculous, horrible, offensive things that he says.